Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. So in today's video, this is going to be the last video of alcohol phenol ether chapter. As of the revised syllabus, we have completely removed the uses of ethanol and methanol. Therefore, this video is the last video of this particular chapter, where we are going to discuss about the physical and chemical properties of ethers. In the previous video, we learnt about the chemical reactions and preparation of ether. We learnt especially about the preparation of ether. In this video, let us just discuss about certain physical properties of ether, and then we will come across the two important reactions that ether usually undergo. So for the physical properties, we know physical property clearly involves about the boiling point and solubility, right? Physical properties of organic compounds is much of nothing but boiling point and solubility of that given ether. So usually ether, what we have discussed in the earlier alcohol comparison itself, ethers and hydrocarbons which have same molecular mass, when compared to those with alcohols of the same molecular mass, have slight variation in their boiling point. That is, if you consider for an example of propane with methoxymethane, propane with methoxymethane and ethanol. Propane with methoxymethane and ethanol. Propane's molecular formula is C3H8. Methoxymethane is CH3OCH3. Ethanol is CH3CH2OH. So these three compounds have same molecular mass of range. If you calculate the molecular mass of propane, that is 36 plus 8, 44. Molecular mass of methoxymethane is 15 plus 15 plus 12, 46. And that of ethanol is 15 plus 17 plus 17, that is 45. So if you come across the molecular masses of these compounds, so this is again 46, not 45. So if you come across the molecular masses of propane, methoxymethane and ethanol, propane is a hydrocarbon, methoxymethane is an ether, and ethanol is an alcohol molecule. If you consider that boiling point, what we observe is boiling point of propane is 307 Kelvin, boiling point of ether is 309 Kelvin, but boiling point of ethanol is 390 Kelvin. So even though they have almost same molecular masses, we clearly observe a difference in boiling point of ether and alcohol. That is because alcohol usually prefer having a hydrogen bond, whereas we don't come across hydrogen bond in case of ether and hydrocarbon. Therefore, the boiling point of ether and hydrocarbon stays less when compared to the boiling point of alcohol. Further, because of the presence of hydrogen bonding, ethanol has two types of hydrogen bonding, intermolecular and intramolecular. But in case of methoxymethane, it just always have intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Therefore, ether also for some extent shows some similarity in solubility also. Even though the boiling point does not experience certain amount of hydrogen bonding, but when you come across adding water molecule to ethers, they react some certain amount of hydrogen bonding in themselves through the oxygen atom present in this methane case. Therefore, and further, they have certain amount of dipole moment in them. Even though I have written the structure like this, it is not the exact structure of methane. It will be in this form. The carbon and oxygen bond will have a certain amount of dipole moment in it, resulting in this particular direction. Therefore, what we clearly observe is, when you compare the other complexes, this will be having a higher dipole moment, and further, this particular compound ether has certain solubility in case of water also. So this is all about the physical properties. Next, we come across the chemical properties. So ethers, as we know, when we compare the alcohol reactions, we said there are two types of chemical reactions of alcohol and phenol. One which involves carbon and oxygen bond breaking, and those which involve carbon and oxygen bond breaking, oxygen and hydrogen bond breaking. In case of ethers, we just have one type of bond breaking, that is carbon and oxygen, and hence ethers undergo two special reactions. One is reacting them with hydrogen halide. So chemical reactions of phenols are chemical properties. So the first reaction is reaction with hydrogen halide. Reaction with hydrogen halide. When treated with hydrogen halide, especially those which are of hydrogen iodide, hydrogen bromide and hydrogen chloride, the hydrogen halide reactivity in this condition is Hi greater than HBr, which is greater than HCl. HF does not undergo this particular reaction. When you treat ether with hydrogen halide such as hydrogen iodide, hydrogen bromide or hydrogen chloride, we prepare two molecules of alkyl halide, but the reaction is so slow that it takes place in two steps. It means two methods. If you are treating ROR prime with hydrogen halide, first we'll prepare an alkyl halide and respective alcohol. Then the further alcohol molecule will react with more amount of hydrogen halide to prepare one more molecule of alkyl halide. So first let us say Rx plus ROH. It forms Rx plus ROH. Further the alcohol ROH reacts with excess amount of hydrogen halide present in the reaction to form one more molecule of alkyl halide. So this is the reaction taking place when you treat when you treat ethers with hydrogen halide. Clearly, whenever you treat hydrogen halide in excess and in a good concentration, what happens is we clearly prepare two molecules of alkyl halide. That is, when you are treating alkyl halide with hydrogen halide, ethers with hydrogen halide, those in which we are considering the excess amount of hydrogen halide at a good concentration, they will be preparing us two molecules of alkyl halide. For example, let us consider certain examples. Let us say we are treating CH3OC2H5. So this gives us, when treated with hydrogen chloride, gives us CH3Cl plus C2H5OH. Further, C2H5OH reacts with one more molecule of HCl, gives C2H5Cl along with a molecule of water. So this is the process taking place. That is, when you treat ethers with hydrogen halide, they give us two molecules of alkyl halide. So this is about the reaction. Now, how about the mechanism? Usually, before going to the mechanism, let us discuss about the reaction of phenol ethers. In this case of alcohols, what happens is, when you treat ethers of alkyls, that is alkyl alkoxy ether with hydrogen halide, we prepare two molecules of alkyl halide. But when you treat phenyl halide, that is those which containing aryl benzene ring, what happens is the oxygen and alkyl bond will be broken down, leading to the formation of respective phenol. And further, the phenol formed will not be undergoing further reaction with alkyl halide. That means when you treat aryl halides or aryl ethers, for this particular reaction, what happens is, let us take an example, CH3OCH3 status like this with a phenol group. If you consider anisole, when you treat anisole with hydrogen bromide, what happens is, out of these two bonds, that is the carbon in the sp2 benzene ring and carbon with the sp3 methyl group, both when you compare these two, this particular bond is weaker. Therefore, this bond breaks down, so leading to the formation of phenol OH and CH3Br. Even though the given product still has an alkyl or aryl group present here, and excess of hydrogen bromide present in the equation does not further initiate the reactions. Therefore, that is because the carbon present in this particular bond is the sp2 hybridized carbon and it is more stable. It will not merely break down its bond because of an halogen initiated reaction. Therefore, this will be the final product in case of aryl ethers. If you consider for alkyl ethers, the reaction gives us 2 molecules of alkyl halide. But if you consider aryl ethers, only alkyl halide will be formed, leading with along the formation of phenol molecule. Okay, so this is about the reaction. Now, how does the mechanism take place? If you are considering for the mechanism of this reaction, and if you are considering primary ether and secondary ether, tertiary ether, what we observe over here is primary ethers undergo SN2 mechanism. Primary ethers undergo SN2 mechanism. Secondary ether, tertiary ether undergo SN1 mechanism. Secondary ether, tertiary ether, and aryl ethers. These three will be undergoing in SN1 reaction, where the step will be in a single step, leading to the formation of stable carbocation. Okay, this will be taking place in 2 steps, where the first step it will be leading formation of carbocation, and in the second step the carbocation will be attacked by the nucleophile OH-. So this is how the reaction takes place. So in this case, now just discuss about the main process. We are not going to dig deep into the reaction mechanism. Just will show how the reaction is going to take place in certain example. Now, for CH3, OCH3, on treating with alkyl halide, hydrogen halide, HI. If you consider this reaction, the lone pair of electrons present on oxygen, attacks the hydrogen iodide. It forms CH3O, CH3 and a plus charge. Now, on this particular ion, the iodide attacks on the carbocation carbon attached to the oxygen atom. Iodine attacks the CH3 molecule, leading to the formation of CH3I, and this bond breaks down on the oxygen atom to form CH3OH. Okay, so this is the mechanism for primary alkyl ethers. Okay, if you are considering primary ethers, this will be the mechanism where lone pair of electrons present on oxygen attacks the proton of hydrogen iodide. In the second step, the iodine ion will be attacking the carbon group, and thus resulting in the breaking between carbon and oxygen bond, which leading to the formation of CH3I and CH3OH. Further, this CH3OH may react with one more molecule of hydrogen iodide to form respective one more molecule of alcohol and water molecule. So this is about the reaction mechanism for primary ether. Now if we consider for the mechanism for secondary ether, for the mechanism of secondary ether, what we observe is, if you consider an example of tertiary butanol, CH3, CH3, OCH3. If you consider this particular reaction, this completely undergoes in case of secondary mechanism. This reaction takes place through SN1 mechanism. That is, first it has to react with a proton and has to lose its bond. So first the hydrogen iodide, what it does is it initiates the loss of iodine here. Therefore this gives us CH3 with a carbocation, and then the I minus ion attacks the carbocation, leading to the formation of CH3I along with the formation of CH3OH. So this is the mechanism for the second step. In the first step, it loses a OCH3 molecule to form carbocation, and that carbocation will be attacked by the I minus ion to form the respective alkyl halide. So this is about the reaction of ether with hydrogen halide. Next is the second method, that is the electrophilic substitution of aryl ethers. So aryl ethers undergo electrophilic substitution reaction. Aryl ethers undergo electrophilic substitution reaction to form ortho and para substituted product, electrophilic substitution reactions. So aryl ether undergo electrophilic substitution reaction to form ortho and para substituted aryl ether compounds. So now if you consider for the general resonance structure, the lone pair of electrons present on the oxygen molecule of the ether, the lone pair of electrons present in the oxygen molecule initiates the resonance structures. So these are the resonance structures which are possible in case of aryl ether, such as like this. Since we have already discussed about the resonance structure, I think it would be easier for you to write down this. So O, R with a plus charge, and further this minus charge comes over here. This bond initiates the negative charge on this carbon like this, and further we have one more resonance of this bond over here, and such as like this, giving us one more resonance structure, double bond O with plus charge, R minus charge on this bond, and further there will be one more resonance of this electron over here, and the double bond will break down to form the one more type of ether. So now if you have observed carefully in this resonance structure, the negative charge is clearly present on ortho and para position. Okay, if you consider the resonance structures, the negative charge is clearly present on ortho and para position. Therefore the incoming electrophile will be get attached at the ortho and para position. Okay, so this is about the resonance structure. Now we'll just directly discuss the reactions which are undergoing here. So we have three reactions. One is nitration, the other one is halogenation, and the last one is Friedel-Crafts reaction. First, nitration. So nitration, what happens is, we are going to consider an example of anisole. We are treating anisole, that is nitration of anisole reaction. So what happens is, when you treat anisole, that is methoxybenzene, when you treat anisole with nitric acid HNO3 in the presence of concentrated H2SO4, we get ortho and para substituted nitroanisole, ortho and para substituted nitroanisole, NO2 OCH3 plus NO2 OCH3, ortho and para substituted nitroanisole. This is para nitroanisole, para nitro, this is ortho nitro, para nitroanisole and ortho nitroanisole. So this is the two reaction, that is the two products which are formed. Out of these two, para product is major, because as we have discussed earlier, the nitro group present on the benzene ring, if it is at the para position, it involves more amount of resonance structure. Therefore, nitro at the para position is more stable. Okay. The nitration reaction is when you treat anisole. We are just clearly considering an example of aryl ether. So when you take anisole and treat it with constant nitric acid and constant sulfuric acid, that is nothing but the nitrating mixture, we get two products, the mixture of two products, that is ortho-nitroanisole and para-nitroanisole. This is for the nitration reaction. Next is halogenation reaction. When you treat bromine, that is when you treat bromine with anisole in presence of carbon tetrachloride or any Lewis acid, there is no clearly need of any Lewis acid, as we know that O group present on the benzene ring initiate the electrophilic reaction. Therefore, in the second process, that is halogenation, or should we say bromination process. So when you treat anisole with bromine in presence of carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, CHCl, not carbon tetrachloride but chloroform. When you treat anisole with bromine in presence of chloroform, it gives us a mixture of two products. Those are ortho and para substituted bromoanisole. Ortho and para substituted bromoanisole. So this is the para substituted para bromoanisole. This is the para bromoanisole and this is ortho bromoanisole. Ortho bromoanisole and para bromoanisole. So this is when you treat anisole with bromine in presence of chloroform. You can also use Lewis acid such as AlCl3 or FeCl3, doesn't matter. Since there is already an oxygen atom present which donates electron to the benzene ring, it won't matter of that kind. Okay. So therefore, this is the reaction of bromination of anisole. That is electrophilic substitution reactions of anisole. Next is the very important reaction, that is Friedel-Crafts alkylation and acylation. Next, the third one, Friedel-Crafts reactions. So we have two in depth Friedel-Crafts reactions. One is acylation and the other one is alkylation. Now, Friedel-Crafts alkylation. Friedel-Crafts reaction. Out of that, first one, alkylation. Friedel-Crafts alkylation. When you treat anisole with alkyl halide, that is OCH3 with alkyl halide, for example CH3Cl, in presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride. When you treat anisole with alkyl halide in presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride, we get a mixture of ortho and para substituted methyl anisole. So this is para substituted methyl anisole. This is ortho substituted methyl anisole. So when you treat anisole with alkyl halide in presence of such as methyl chloride, in presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride, we are going to obtain a mixture of two products. One is the para substituted methyl anisole and the other one is ortho substituted methyl anisole. See, clearly I am not explaining much of these reactions because these particular electrophilic substitution reactions are clearly quite similar to the electrophilic substitution reactions of benzene and phenol also. So therefore there is no need of completely explaining these steps. Just you need to write down the explanation. That is, when you treat anisole with methyl chloride in the presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride, you will be getting mixture of two products. One is para substituted methyl anisole and the other one is ortho substituted methyl anisole. And now for the last reaction, that is the acylation process in Friedel-Crafts. So when you treat anisole with acyl chlorides, so acyl chlorides are those which have COCl bonds. So in the third and in the second reaction, acylation process, when you treat anisole with acyl chloride like CH3, C double bond O, Cl, in presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride, we are going to obtain ortho and para substituted acyl anisole, OCH3, COCH3. So here, instead of naming them with respect to the ether component, we have to name them according to the carbonyl component. C double bond O, CH3, OCH3. So the only change in this particular reaction is In the previous all examples, we were considering this complete molecule as the parent one, but in this particular example, this OCH3 molecule is to be considered as a substituent. Therefore, the name of this compound is orthomethoxyacetophenone, paramethoxyacetophenone. The name of this compound is acetophenone. Therefore, this is the ortho-substituted acetophenone, orthomethoxyacetophenone. This is paramethoxyacetophenone. This is orthomethoxyacetophenone. This is paramethoxyacetophenone. So these are the chemical reactions or chemical properties of ethers. I hope you have understood these concepts. If you have any doubt, please do comment down below, and you can mail those doubts to my mail ID which I have provided in the description box. Thank you for watching.